Alright, hey people, welcome back to my stream, and not gonna lie, last night I saved the game and turned off my screen and went to sleep. And now I just woke up. No, not really. I woke up 2 hours ago. I was doom scrolling. And it's just now I opened up my PC. I opened OBS and just started. I didn't even get like coffee or whatever. I just straight up just like I want to do Kozue's route. I was supposed to start like an hour or two ago, but I ended up doom scrolling and some shit. So whatever. That's kind of fucked up. Anyway, let's continue, man. Am I ready for Kozue's manner of speech? Probably not. Do you really have an interest in protecting me? Wait, give me a second. I need to fix something. All right. Okay, we're good to go. Are we good to go? I don't know why my audio kind of dithered. It's kind of weird when that happens. Let me turn off the light. I don't want the lights. The lights are too bright for me right now. All right. It's like I'm you know what? Let me. All right. All right. Let's continue. I think it's fine now. A present for me? Oh, look at me. I think I just raised a flag. It's nothing. Somewhere nice and relaxing? Oh my god. The hell? I knew it. There are no people around, so the description is pretty spot on. Then again, it is just a staircase, so that only makes sense. So why is that I can't seem to calm down? Maybe it's because of that employee downstairs. It feels like he's been keeping a close eye on me. Why did they just go to Takumi's base? It's equally as quiet, isolated. Or maybe it's because Kozupi and I are speaking telepathically. We aren't making any noise. So from an outsider's point of view, we probably just look like a bunch of freaks making faces at each other in total silence. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when you just stare at people while staying completely silent, what do you expect? What? These are supposed to be secret? The sheer amount of energy you have really does tire me out. Some things never change though. Whatever. Can we just go back to what you were saying? Didn't you say something about a present? As she spoke, Kozue started rummaging around in her bag. This is too early for my brain. This is too early for my brain. What the fuck am I reading? She offered me a piece of candy. Just what the hell did she actually keep in her bag? For now, though, I just took the candy, unwrapped it, and popped it into my mouth. It was lemon flavored. The tangy flavor spread throughout my mouth. Pretty refreshing, honestly. Was that a present, Kozue?
違うよ。それはね、コズピーがいっつもなめなめしてるキャンディーさんなのだ。
And you just expected me to know that?
プレゼントはこれなの。
She happily pulled out a number of fanciful accessories from her bag, each one made of a bunch of colorful beads. The hell are those?
ブチュブチュさんです。
What the fuck? I still don't know how to translate that in my brain.
携帯のストラップとか、指輪もあるし、ヘアピンもチャームもあるよ。
Celery phones. Why? Why is the cutesy way of saying cell phones celery phones? Do you make all of these by hand?
違うよ。コズピーが手芸をやろうとすると、ぐちゃぐちゃドカーンってなっちゃうのら。
Extra clickety. What the fuck?
これはね、ママが作ってくれるんだよ。コズピーがビーズ大好きだから、全部ブチュブチュさんなのら。
Kozue suddenly grabbed my hand. The sheer warmth and softness of it made my heart skip a beat.
たくみさん、ドキッでしたね。
Only because it was a surprise attack.
たくみさんがドキッてすると、コズピーもドキッてしちゃうの。
Oh no, 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 no! With a smile still on her face, Kozue handed me something made out of beads. It was probably a cell phone strap, if I had to guess.
はい、これあげますね。
I don't want it.
もしかしてコズピー迷惑だった？
Wait, I got a little distracted. Just give me a few seconds. Alright.
お友達にはみんなにね、ブチュブチュさんあげてるんだよ。
With a turn that would give anyone whiplash, Kozue burst into tears. Oh, for fun. Why does she have to be so quick to cry all the time? I mean, isn't this something a girl would wear? I'd feel weird putting it on.
おい、そうだったのら。ほんじゃ、たくみさんはプレゼントされても困っちゃうだけだ。これあげる人、2人目だったのに。ぐっそんなのら。
Big sniffle. Depressed as could be, Kozue made to take back the cell phone strap, but I quickly pulled my hand back and jammed it into my jacket pocket.
たくみさん？
I changed my mind. I'll take it.
なんで？
She said that she gives a present to all her friends, yet I'm only the second person to get one. In other words, Kozue must not have any friends. So the first one she gave was to Senna, no doubt about it. Huh, I kind of feel...
登場したのですね。
Shit, I forgot Kozue can read all my thoughts. But honestly, as much as I feel sorry for you, I think we are actually the same in some ways.
あのね、コズピーも同じことを思ったよ。コズピーが初めて学校行った時、たくみさんを見てね、すごく辛そうだなって思ったのら。コズピーも辛かったから一緒だってほっとしたの。
huh? It reminds me of what Senna told me about Kozubi's life before she transferred. She and I really are alike. We're both closed off to the world. We're both at the mercy of the malicious entities surrounding us. We both avoid crowds. We both avoid human contact. We're both afraid of people. And we both like hiding away by some dimly lit staircase, making ourselves unnoticeable.
ただ普通にね、生きたいだけなのにね。
As she played with the clickety clackety in her hand, Kosubi had a faraway look in her eyes.
お友達作って一緒に遊んだりして、一緒にお弁当食べたり、一緒にお勉強したり、文化祭とかの行事を一緒に頑張ったり、一緒に恋のお話をしたり。そんなね、普通の生活で十分だったのら。特別なことなんて何にも望んでなかったよ。
Suddenly, the expression on Kozubi's face disappeared. And then she tore apart the clickety she had been playing with. The beads went everywhere, rolling and tumbling down the stairs. I've been thinking the same thing. Why am I the only one that has to suffer this? I always ask myself, what did I do to deserve this?
コズピーはね、悪いことしたよ。
Kozubi stuck out her tongue, and her smile came back. A bad thing? Do you mean the thing where you cut off your classmate's arms, or...?
殺したいって願ったもん。コズピーに意地悪する人たち全員ぶち殺したいって願っちゃったもん。
You really are pretty twisted.
でも悪いことを願うのは悪いことじゃないよ。あれね、悪いことを願うのが悪いから悪いことを願うのかな。悪いですね。
I think it's normal for people to have, like, bad thoughts or something to say about another person. But deliberately acting on them or something like that is, like, I think that's automatically where the line goes over. I don't know. It's kind of situational, you know. It's very situational, having bad. But I think it's normal that people will have bad thoughts about other people. But I don't know. This is the route where you think about that thing a little, because, you know, you're talking about Kozupi, who has the ability to mind read. So the concept of, like, private thoughts don't exist. You know, if everyone had an idea of what you were thinking at you know, whatever you're thinking, you know, there would be such a thing called a thought police, you know. You know, just the desire concept of thinking something bad against a person is enough to get you in jail. That sounds ridiculous, but you know. But in the realm of your private thoughts, you know, I don't know. My stance on that is just like, maybe it's 80 to 90%. Well, as long as it's just in your brain. But the moment you voice out certain thoughts, like you want to do harm on someone else, and you voice it out to someone else, that's where the situational thought really starts to, you know, like, if you're sharing your bad thoughts about to someone else, like you're ranting, and, you know, that's probably fine. But if you try to say those horrible thoughts to someone they're directing to, that you have a horrible thought on the person, that might be interpreted as an intention of, like, it's kind of like a malicious act in itself at that point. This is a very gray line, man. Anyway, let's continue.
とにかく負の感情は否定されるものじゃないってへんてこなボード持ったおじさんが言ってたのら。
Negative emotions are not something to be repudiated.
悪いことを願ったから ディソードがコズピーの力になってくれるのら、ディソードがコズピーを守ってくれるのら。
Remember, the only way I think a traumatic event really does get you to start seeing the Disordo. But based on how Takumi is able to grab his D sword, at least before IS's route, because IS's route is kind of I don't get how. Okay, so in IS's route, Takumi was able to get his D Sordo because he grabbed the black or whatever from Ayase. And I think in Ayase's world that kind of makes sense. But in Takumi's world, which is probably the case for most Gigulomaniacs, is that they need to have the desire to grab the sword in the first place. And when in Takumi's case, during the O-Front stuff, as much as he wanted to save Nanami, his will wasn't strong enough to want to get the D-Sword on his own. But on the other endings, at least the ones we've seen so far, A and B, Takumi was only able to get his D-Sword because he thought that for a will of his own, he wanted to get the D-Sword to save Rimi. So, you know, that's a manifestation of his desire to actually have something to save someone and all that. So, well, you know, basically his desire to save Rimi is much more stronger to save Nanami. Anyway.
だからね、もう普通なんていらないの。
Are you sure? Have you really given up trying to live a normal life? Are you sure that's what you want? That you won't regret it?
めんどくさいのは嫌なの。
For Takumi's case, although he's being like a loner and all that shit, I think we already had like a dialogue, or like we heard his thoughts about he eventually does want to have a normal life. So this one's kind of interesting. I like how they started this conversation that they refer to each other as like very close to each other and all. Then since we already have an idea that Takumi actually wants to have a normal life. So Kosubi here, you know, is going on the other direction, and she's straight up just like, no, man, I don't care about getting it anymore.
世界には悪い人ばっかりだし。
What about Senna? Do you think she's a bad person too?
セナさんはお友達です。悪い人じゃないよ。
The voice of Kozubi's heart sounded incredibly happy.
あとね、たくみちゃんもだよ。
He's gonna point out, I think he's gonna point out that it wouldn't be right to be completely presumptuous or completely, you know. Let's see if this is how it goes.
ブチブチ友達なのら。
We all could think like Kozubi does. Life would probably be a whole lot easier. Or is the reason Kozubi thinks that way because she was broken at some point in the past? That's not really something I can answer. Well, I might complain all the time about the world around me. Inside my head, that is, at the end of the day, all I want is for someone to help me. That's all I ask. Well, I may have thought we were similar. I guess Kozubi and I really are different.
一緒なのら。
For some reason, I didn't understand. Kozubi seemed very convinced of that. She then vigorously stood up.
ほいじゃ。
As soon as that left her mouth, Kozue raced down the stairs. And then in a display that it was very in character for her, she slipped and fell on the very last step. The inside of the roll was as back as ever. With a slight limp, Kozue made her way through the building. There were tears in her eyes. Daijoubu ka?
転ぶのは慣れてるよ。
Kozue flashed a brave smile. But that smile quickly faded. Kozue stopped dead in her tracks and her gaze shot straight behind me. When I glanced over my shoulder to see what she was looking at, I saw a bunch of mirrors for sale. Everything from hand mirrors to full-on dressers were on display. With a stiff expression, Kozue looked away from the mirrors and started to quickly walk away.
たくみさん、また明日ね。
The voice of her heart held not even a trace of the energy from before. I ran after Kozue, but I had taken too long to do so, and now I couldn't see her anywhere. I hadn't said anything to her about wanting us to leave together, but she was the only person I had left. Losing her started to make me freak out, and I could feel the anxiety slowly welling up. Being all by myself, especially in the center of Shibuya, I really didn't like it. The mere sight of the human stampedes moving around along caused sweat to bead all over me. So, knowing I couldn't take it, I gave up on trying to find Kozue and decided to hurry back to my base. What was that? I heard something. The loud clicking sound of a camera shutter. I shifted my gaze toward the sound, but I couldn't see anyone with a camera. That was when I realized the sound hadn't been an actual camera, but a cell phone. That explained why the sound had been so clear. And yet, despite the realization, I still couldn't look at anyone that was pointing a cell phone at me. Was I just too on edge? No, that couldn't be it. My social suicide would have been incredibly well known throughout Japan, especially considering how many people freaked out over espers. So it wouldn't have been all that strange if there were people who found it amusing to snap random photos of me. The streets were overflowing with people, while at least none of them were looking at me. Don't look at me. Biting my lip, I continued dragging myself forward. I hung my head as low as possible so as to not be recognized. There it was again. Someone had taken a photo of me again, and this time I knew for a fact that I had felt their gaze on me. And it wasn't just the usual God's gaze, but the gaze harboring nothing but pure malice. I looked around, and yet after all that, there was still no one there. Who the hell are you, sneaking photos like a goddamn peeping Tom? I'll sue the fuck out of you for violating the rights of my likeness. But it wasn't like they were gonna hear me cursing them out inside my head, and I very much didn't have the courage to say it out loud. Even if I did, it'll only bring even more attention to me. I went back to walking. This time I doubled my speed, weaving as best as I could between the herds of pedestrians clogging the road. The sound only got worse. Oh no, I think he's gonna have like an experience similar to Kozue. Because Kozue, hates mirrors. Now he's gonna have something about camera phone shutters. Considering Japan requires by law for Japanese domestic phones to have like the shutter sound enabled, which is kind of useless nowadays because you can always buy a phone from outside Japan, and it kind of loses its whatever, As you can buy a phone from Japan and just, although the disadvantage of doing that is that you lose a lot. You lose the frequency and stuff in Japan. The specific radio frequency of the cell phone, which makes it a hassle if you wanna use your phone to tap into like the train station gate, subway station gates. because you need a specific RFID thing on the phone, NFC thing. Because when I went to Japan, I actually wanted to just tap my phone instead of using a card. But since my phone isn't compatible, because I bought my phone in the US and all, that's like anyway. Let's go back to the visual novel. The shutters continued to chase me. Then I thought I heard someone giggle. I looked around again. There was a number of people holding their cell phones at eye level. A middle-aged businessman, a woman in a suit, a high school boy, some DQN girl, a pretty varied selection. By the way, I was thinking about this quite a bit. I wonder if the route girl that Takumi is on, Takumi is heavily influenced by the Gigglomaniac they're interacting with the most. So for example, here with Kozue, since Kozue is suffering a lot from paranoia from mirrors, although she's suffering from paranoia from mirrors, it kind of started to highlight on Takumi's part on people like trying to do stuff to him, especially considering the stuff he did in Overrun. Anyway, let's continue. As I moved, they would move their cameras, their phones in an attempt to follow me. Don't look at me. Don't take pictures of me. I couldn't take it anymore, so I took off running in another direction. But it didn't matter how long I ran. It didn't matter how far I ran. It didn't matter how many people I treaded the needle through. The sound always found me. The gaze always caught up to me. Every time I thought I got away from the noise, it always started up once again. In my head, it was like my enemies were multiplying without end. Eventually, I ran into a red light, forcing me to stop. Planting my hands on my knees, I tried as best as I could to catch my breath, all while the noise of the shutters persisted. My gaze trained downward. I clenched my fist as I tried to stomach the humiliation. That was all I could really do at this point. Suddenly a thought occurred to me. Was this noise really being produced by a large unknown number of people? Wouldn't they all be taking way too many photos? Sure, I was basically a celebrity now, but I wasn't famous, I was infamous. People of me wouldn't be worth jack shit. I'd say most people consider me to be a walking piece of trash at this point, so I just couldn't get over how strange it was the world had picked today of all days to start taking all these photos of me, and they weren't even hiding it either. Was it Shogun? Was he orchestrating this attack on me right now? Just leave me alone already. What the hell have I ever done to you? What the fuck is your problem? Okay, it kind of makes sense. This is one of those psychological attacks by the Divine Church of Light thing. Like they probably had them ordered to have people take photos of them, just to provide a psychological attack on him. I want to kill him. After breaking me completely, while he watched from the shadows, he was finally going to kill me once and for all. This malicious harassment wouldn't be enough. I would be the next new Gen case, murdered in some horrible, grotesque fashion. Therefore, I had to kill him before he kills me. I grabbed my head with both hands. I had pounding headache. Okay, I can finally understand what the fuck is supposed to be all about. I like this. I like how they structured this route. And despite it all, I still didn't feel God's gaze. Despite the countless photos being taken by his cell phone, Shogun's typical gaze wasn't following me at all. I want to kill him. Suddenly, everything went quiet. The rapid snapping of camera shutters completely disappeared. Surprised, I started to look up, only to hear a sound that I heard many times before. Right behind me, within the silence, came a quiet creaking noise that I would never have heard otherwise. I sensed a presence. Someone in a wheelchair was right behind me. But who? I laughed at my own wishful thinking. Their identity was obvious. It was him, Shogun. Ignoring the red light entirely, I leapt onto the crosswalk. My ears were assailed by a chorus of horns, and one vehicle was on the brink of running me over just before it just managed to screech to a halt. But I couldn't look back now. I had to keep running as hard as I possibly could. Even though I made it back to my base, I was still haunted by the sounds of those shutters. Moving to a nearby residential area hadn't helped either. Even though it had been entirely deserted, I could still hear the endless clicking and clacking of shutters. It was as if they'd been seared into my very eardrums. Every person I passed would take out their phone just to get a shot at me. Not one of them said, "Oh wow, please let me shake your hand," or "ew," as I moved past them. Not one even so much as grinned at me. Nothing but expressionless faces taking photos with their cell phones. So I just continued to walk past them, pretending like they weren't even there. Clearly, something strange was going on. I didn't sense even a hint of malice nor ill will from them. They felt entirely mechanical. Yeah, kind of like an automata, except in this case, there was someone actively controlling them. I sat in the corner of my room, legs gripped tightly against my chest as it curled up into a ball. All I could do was continue to grind my teeth out of sheer frustration. It was all him. It was all Shogun's doing. While en route to my base, I heard it, the sound of a creaking wheelchair. I heard, I only heard it once. I heard it turn around to check, but there was still no doubt in my mind. My hands just wouldn't stop trembling. Glancing at the time, I realized it was already 11 p.m. I'd spent 5 hours scared shitless. Letting out a deep sigh, I lashed out at him inside my head. I hope you die. I hope you die. I hope you die. I hope you die. Yeah. This is his speed run to simulate whatever Kozue is experiencing right now. Anyway, the worst part of Shogun was that he didn't kill you quickly. He would gently wrap a cord around your neck, and over time, he would slowly tighten the cord before eventually you would suffocate. And because of that, because I knew exactly how he was, anxiety flared up within me, and I began to dread even going outside. Help me, Kozubi. I can't fight Shogun on my own. I don't even have my own Disordo. There's nothing I can do. Gossipy, why won't you help me? I had to think. Somehow I had to come up with a way for Kozubi to protect me. This is the lucky thing about Takumi and regarding Rimi, because Rimi is actively protecting him. I don't like the implication though. It means that for a person like Takumi, you need someone actively looking out for you. I don't know. I don't think that's like I mean, in real life, there's something like that. This is why the first character you meet is, aside from the prologue, where you encounter Remy, the first person you encounter outside of Takumi is Nanami, and she does keep tabs on him, but it's not as simple as like family being like you know I don't know. Because Takumi always felt that the manner of which how um the manner of which how what do you call this, Nanami approach his care for like Takumi is like, it doesn't match. uh he knows that Nanami cares for him, but at the same time, he felt like she was doing it in a very insensitive manner. So he felt like that's why he just feels more annoyed and all. But based on Nanami's route, if they were just both, there's a big asterisk here. I would say if they were just both honest to each other, things would have worked out for them. But at the same time, the exercise of actually talking to Nanami was with a delusional version of Nanami. The real question that I ask myself is whether the delusional version of Nanami is someone who is accurate enough to say to be accurate enough to no, it wouldn't be, because that was the whole conflict at the end of her route, because he had the chance to. The only reason why he didn't recognize the hand, you know, like when he opened the box, he didn't see the hand, he only saw the cell phone, was because he didn't he was willing to love Nanami, but he wasn't willing to recognize. He only recognized parts of Nanami that was like the things he liked about Nanami, but he didn't recognize the stuff about the real Nanami, and so to speak, the parts of Nanami that makes her a person and all. He rejected the real person Nanami in favor of a selected version of Nanami. Anyway, let's not talk about Nanami's route right now. How the hell did I go here? Oh yeah, because of someone being actively keeping tabs for Takumi to, get him out of his. I don't know. I guess it really helps that someone does keep tabs on someone like Takumi in order for them to just like get their shit together. But my personal experience is that you're better off figuring out how to reach out to people first in the first place. If you want someone to actively reach out to you, you gotta start the initiative first before not someone actively reaching out to you. I mean, we know the only reason that Remy started reaching out to Takumi in the first, it wasn't because she actually cared for him in the beginning. I mean, she does eventually fall in love for him, but in the beginning she was just keeping tabs for him because she didn't want Shogun or the real Takumi to be like dying quicker, because if he awakens, he uses his power and he dies faster. So in real life, it would have to be like you as a person had to be willing to improve a little. I mean, at least enough, and at least enough, man, at least enough to reach out to someone. And if you take care of that relationship enough, you get something in return. It's a give and take relationship until people feel like. I still think everything's like a kind of transactional, but not always in like a monetary kind of way. Some people value another person's presence, and that's good enough. Even if they like straight up do everything for you. For some people, just spending time seeing the other person be happy and all is apparently satisfaction on their own end. So it may seem like on the outside it's like you're kind of like a slave driver on another person, but they're totally fine. But I don't know, it's important to talk to another person. Anyway, let's go back to this shit. Why am I talking about life advice and life experiences right now? She could read my mind, so I definitely couldn't lie to her. Then what about money? Would she help me if I offered her compensation? Oh shit. That noise just now. With a horrible gulp, I squeezed myself into an even tighter ball and strained my ears for the slightest sound. I just hallucinated it. Yeah, that was the most obvious and I hadn't hallucinated it. It was the sound of a wheelchair. I could hear it coming from outside. I immediately held my breath and strained my ears even harder, trying desperately to hear any noise coming through the wall. There it was. He was outside. Wait, maybe I was just imagining it. Maybe I was just imagining him slowly moving closer and closer to me. I wasn't just imagining it. He was wheeling around outside the container. I heard his voice. It was Shogun's laugh. He was laughing. In the dead of night, he was sitting outside my container in his creaky little wheelchair, laughing. But it didn't end there. The very next second, I heard the sound of a cell phone's shutter camera. Had Shogun taken a picture? What had he taken a picture of? The container? It wasn't just Shogun. There were other people there. And not just 2 or 3. It felt like there were at least 10. They were all taking pictures with their phones in perfect unison. The sound of the shutters echoed off the walls and coiled into my ears. This wasn't possible. A delusion like this was just that. A delusion. If I peek outside, surely nobody would be there. It was all just some simple hallucination. Sure, the container walls were pretty thin, but there was still no way I should have been able to hear the shutters or the laughter or the wheelchair. And definitely not this clearly. I then had the courage to go outside and check for myself. Fear overwhelming me, I burst into tears and wrapped a blanket around my head in an attempt to cover my ears. Don't come in. 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 How much time had passed? It had only been 10 minutes, but it felt more like 10 hours. I threw out the blanket and got up as quietly as possibly could. I listened very carefully. I didn't hear anything outside. All I could hear was the sound of my PC. So it really had been just a hallucination. Yeah, it had to have been. Just to be sure though, I should check outside. There was no way anyone was out there. But still, even if someone had been there, surely they wouldn't be there anymore. I positioned myself by the door. There was a padlock on the inside, keeping the door locked. Retrieving the key, I stuck it inside the padlock. But I didn't have it in me to turn the key that easily. My heart was pounding out my chest, and my nerves refused to calm down. I was terrified. The mere thought of opening my door absolutely terrified me. This could have all been some total bait. Someone could be outside right now, biding their time as they waited with bated breath for the opportune moment to strike. I wanted to tell myself that something like that would never happen to me, but it was pointless to even try. I've been deceived over and over again, and I couldn't take it anymore. I was so tired. Why couldn't I just be left alone? Why did I have to endure this horrible, absurd trials? They were just too much for me. Fuck, fuck, fuck. I slammed my fist into the door with a loud bang. The noise resounded incredibly loud, and my hand immediately hurt like hell. Not a sound came from outside. There were no signs of anyone being out there. There was nobody there. Of course, there was nobody there. You'd have to be stupid to think there was somebody there. I bit my lip so hard the blood slowly began oozing out. And with that, I somehow found the strength to remove the padlock. And then I slowly opened the door. In an attempt to investigate, I peeked my head out from my base. There was nobody there. It was still as death. Nothing moved. There was no sign of Shogun's creaky wheelchair, nor his laugh, nor the cell phone camera shutters. Nothing.
誰かいますか？
I waited for a moment, but there was still no response. But of course, there wasn't. There was nobody there. So, of course, nobody would reply to me. That was just common sense. Nervous as could be, I began to check even further outside, shifting my gaze toward any shadowy areas I could see. Yeah, no one was there. Everything I've heard, I've hallucinated. All the repeated extreme stress that caused me to start breaking down. Yeah, that made perfect sense. I just gotten scared and ended up losing it.
僕涙目。もうね、アホかと、バカかと。
The sheer stress I was feeling left me trembling as I laughed at my own pathetic state. Look at this dumbass. It was laughable, really. I couldn't help but lol. Man, I was so worn out. Going back into my room, I let my Seiya damn figure suit my soul. Next, I sat down at my PC and logged in Prepara. That was where I checked for new updates in the Bloodtoon community. I could also see if my friends posted any status updates. One of his friends is Daru, by the way. A sense of dread was building within me. Something wasn't right. The list of my friends' status popped up on my display. None of it was from any friends whose name I typically saw. Spider. You could tell this is Wait, let me read this. Miku Miku, Gingane, Miracle Claudia, Suitable, Tarabu Shrek, Master Sherry, Kura Terion, Idoma Jin, Digitaro, Suicide Girl, Human Flare, Soba Shop Slut, Sindacho, Hazuki, Valentino. I don't remember what's Daru's online name. I'm not sure if this at this point they already thought about the name. I'm not sure if at this point he already thought about like if they already thought about Daru. The mere fact that you see the author is Spider, you already know this is Suwa. He's just straight up making an effort to break his mind. Anyway, the list had been bombarded with a single name posting over and over again in quick succession, blurring all the other posts. That friend's name being Spider. Did I even have a friend with that handle? Well, I'll be lying to myself if I knew all my friends. I have over 100 of them, so it'd be stupid to make that claim. It looked like Spider had written around 15 entries in the past 30 minutes or so. When I saw the titles of the post, I gulped. Before I knew it, my throat had gone completely dry. For one reason or another, I was stuck with an immense sense of deja vu. When I saw the titles, I had a feeling I knew exactly what the contents would be. With trembling fingers, I moved the mouse and clicked on one of the entries.
これって。
Yeah, this is Suwa actively fucking around. The front of this very building. The post had contained a single image, and by the looks of it, it had been taken by a cell phone. There was no text nor anything else on this post, just image. There was no doubt that this photo was of Kurenai conference hall. It seemed to have been taken at night too. Ha, ha. That can't be, right? It was just my mind playing tricks on me. I forced a dry smile as I clicked on another post. Oh no! But since we know this is Suwa, you just know he's just actively fucking around with Takumi at this point. Despite me crying out in disbelief, even I could have predicted what was to come just by reading the title. And yet the horror gave rising countless goosebumps across my skin, each bump like stewing bubble of sheer dread. Those noises. They had just been hallucinations. Panic. The sound of the wheelchair, the sound of Shogun's laughter, the sound of cell phone shutters. Had those sounds actually been real? Had someone actually been outside my base until only a short while ago, while taking pictures and uploading them with their phone? The latest post was titled "The Man of the Hour." The timestamp read 12:14 a.m. and right now it was 12:21 a.m. The last status update had been only 7 minutes ago.
嘘だよ。嘘に決まってる。
Who was the man of the hour supposed to be? Who the hell could it be? I really didn't want to look, but I couldn't bear it not to. I'd be able to calm down I'll never be able to calm down otherwise. I quickly snapped my gaze to the door and dashed. I had to make sure the lock was on correctly. And right after I did that, scared as I could be, I clicked the latest status update. It was a picture of me. Just a moment ago, I had opened the door to see who was there. I thought nobody was out there, but someone had been outside. Oh, they don't even show the picture. They're so lazy, man. The one holding her was the classmate of hers, Ninomiya Minako.
折原、ちょっと話があるんだけど。
Kozue winced at the clear animosity laced in her words. Moreover, Minako was not the only one there. 5 girls stood behind Minako, lying in wait. All of them were her classmates, but Kozue was unable to recall their names and faces.
いいよね。付き合ってくれるでしょ。
As she remained unresponsive and unsure what to do, Kozue's quivering shoulders were then shoved not by Minako but one of the other girls behind her.
ちょっと、なんとか言いなよ。
Feeling entrapped by the crowd of girls, tears began pouring from the corners of her eyes. Her captors were quick to notice, growing even further agitated.
いちいち泣いてんじゃねえよ。いいからちょっと来なよ。
She refused to go with them, for she had a horrible feeling about the events to come. But when they grabbed her by both arms, she knew that she would no longer had a chance in the matter. They brought her out to the rooftop. 10 more girls were waiting up there. Nearly everyone was a classmate of hers. When she realized the truth, Kozue was left deeply confused. Kozue could predict very well what would happen from this moment. She could acutely feel the intense malice directed at her from those present. Kozue shook in fear from the sheer amount of negative delusions flowing into her. Despite her best efforts to endure, her tears simply would not stop flowing.
こいつもう泣いてんじゃん。
うわ、マジ？うざくない？
Even though Kozue had only just transferred to the school, her peers held nothing back in their barrage of insults. Of course, she was well aware of the bitter hatred the girls felt for her. Try as she might to block out their inner voices in the classroom, the utter animosity they held was not something she had been able to ignore. But despite such contempt, nobody had approached her in this manner before. She tried to run, but being surrounded by so many of her classmates, she left her no route to escape with.
逃げようとしてんじゃねえよ。美奈子が話あるんだからさ、ちゃんと聞きな。
Prompted by her classmates' threat, Minako glared toward Kozue with intense hatred. Minako's demeanor was that of a tall, rigid model, providing a heavy contrast to Kozue's small, petite frame.
折原あんたさ、大輔に色目使ってんじゃないわよ。
Despite them talking as if she should have known it, the name Daisuke was not one she was familiar with. But these words that would defend her would never leave her mouth. She simply made herself small, shrinking to the ground in order to withstand the fierce chaos and confusion.
聞いてんの？うざいんだよあんた。人の彼氏に手出そうとしてんなよ。
Kozue frantically shook her head in denial. She had no recollection of this person at all. Yeah, oh man. Fucking that guy, man. Then she at last realized that the person they spoke of was her classmate Misumi. If that truly was who they were referring to, then Kozue never had any intention of leering at him. In truth, it was quite the opposite. His entirely overt ulterior motives was nothing but a source of vexation to her.
っていうか、前から折原のこと気に入らなかったんだよね。ねえ、なんで喋んないの？可愛いこぶってんの？
はっきり言ってうざすぎだし、ムカつくし。それとも男子とは話せても私たちと話すつもりないって？調子に乗ってんじゃねえよ。
なんか言えよ、ブース。
They pulled her hair, they struck her face, they shoved her shoulders. There was no escape. They would not let her. Bullying, beating up. Kozue shuddered in the fear as those words floated through her mind. Save me, Sena-chan. Save me, Takumi-chan. Her inner voice cried out, but it was clear that help would not arrive anytime soon. Before she had even moved here to Tokyo, this was how it had always been. No matter how much Kozue wished for someone to help her, it would never come. Oh my god, this is literally oh nice. This is one of those moments we're getting somewhere close to what Takumi's feeling. But at the same time, this is even kind of worse. Because at least Takumi didn't get like straight up being bullied like this, you know? I mean, like the DQ and stuff, Suo had to literally pay someone just to have someone beat the shit out of him. But in school, no one cared about him. Like, the most they would do was like shit talk to him. Well, and that only happened because of the O-front thing. But before that, they didn't even bully Takumi or whatever. Meanwhile, Kozue is straight up being bullied. She had no choice but to bear it. If it were only this much, she could bear it. But that thought was just as transient as the last. From somewhere she could not quite discern, a noise faintly began to echo. The faces of her glasses immediately lost expression. Each and every one of them reached into their jacket pockets in unison. And then, as if they planned it beforehand, they all slowly retrieved something from within them. Each person held a handheld mirror. Mirrors of all manners of shapes and sizes. Oh shit, so yeah, this is one of Suwa's attacks. Simultaneously, each and every girl turned the surfaces of their mirrors toward Kozue. It was like a cult performing a ritual. Within each mirror, Kozue could be stricken with the uttermost terror. Each silver screen reflecting a girl with eyes convulsing uncontrollably. Okay, so yeah, when you hear that sound, it means they're being delusion is being applied on them. So I guess the classmates were all okay. So yeah, this is straight up Suwa or even Hazuki applying some shit on like Kozue. I don't know what the hell is fully going on, but there's something going on.
お前は誰
The nightmares that once plagued Kozue began to resurface. She was losing the all she knew. She could not stop trembling.
お前は誰お前は誰お前は誰
She shook her head violently in denial. Her eyes wandered between each mirror. As her head shuddered and shook, the convulsions seizing her eyes continued.
お前は誰お前は誰
お前は誰
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 お前は誰お前は誰お前は誰お前は
Kozue tried to scream, but could only muster a feeble cry.
お前は誰
No story. I'll kill you, 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 I'll kill you. The dominance of dark, sickly delusions began to enshroud her mind. She then became cognizant of the D sword clutched tightly in her hands. A faint beam of red light shone across the blade, flickering with the delightful shriek. Not a hint of its brutality was left concealed. Its mere aura fiercely intimidated all those who beheld it. Everything before it fell to ruin. Everything before it was consumed. Everything before it returned to nothing. And now, as it sailed, her sword resided not in delusion but in reality. Her once emotionless classmates awakened from their trance, greatly alarmed by what was unfolding. Okay, so the guy turned. The moment the D sword was manifested, they turned off the Noah 2 terminal. But by then, it was far too late. Oh no, 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 no. Takumi, don't go to school tomorrow. No, no, no. Tears pouring out of her cheeks, Kozue let out a scream. Her eyes could no longer see. With a single snap, Kozue staggered forward. Effortlessly, she raised the D sword above her head. At the present moment, it was Minako who was in her path. What came next would be appropriately referred as an immediate bisection. Oh my god, she straight up kills someone! From the left arm to the right shoulder. Oh my god! She straight up murders someone! Her body was ripped apart. In regard to what happened to the girl, the word slash would have been far too disingenuous. Sickeningly, extreme amounts of blood burst forth from her body. As she raised the D sword aloft, this time, Kozue staggered backward. It was as if the sword itself had drawn her back. Her body moved about adroitly, almost as if it were dancing. Despite her remarkably petite frame, she swung the gigantic sword around with incredible ease. Despite being far past death, Minako's corpse was further desecrated in obscene acts of violence. The freshly split blood danced in the air along with Kozue and her sword, dyeing the concrete crimson. Kozue, sap of all any remaining strength, collapsed seconds later in unison with what had used to be Minako. She was sobbing her heart now, the tears forcing her eyes to remain closed. Faced with all that horrific display, her classmates stared in a daze, their mouths hanging agape. Not a single one moved from where they stood. It was as if they could not comprehend what had just occurred. Swaying slowly, Kozue returned to her feet. Holy shit, this route was straight up murder. Oh my god. Very nice. I'm really surprised they really went all in on that. Let's go. Her head hung low as convulsive sobs assailed her. Convulsive sobs. Pointed directly at her petrified classmates, blood trickled from her disorder.
殺してやる
Oh, no, 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 no. The very next moment, innumerable shrieks ripped through the air before disappearing into the sky forever. Oh man, she straight up murders her classmates, man. Walking as fast as I could, I headed directly for my school. I kept my eyes out for anyone and anyone at all. If someone even dared to approach me, I'd run away as fast as I could. I've been hyperventilating forever now. Wheezing again and again, my throat desperately gasped for air. The sweat beaded endlessly on my forehead, no matter how much I wiped it away. It just kept coming. I was just going to school. So I could get Kozue to help with whatever the hell this was. I needed her to fight the bastards that were trying to break me. Kozue would definitely do it. She was completely broken herself after all. You know, my number one fear is that this is the route where Sua would attempt to cause Kozue to have a delusion to attack Takumi. I mean, that is totally possible. I wanted to kill them. Shogun and his cronies need to fucking die. There was no doubt in my mind that the people at my base yesterday had been Shogun and his underlings. I do wonder if he will see Kozue bloodied and all, and how he would react, and he'll be like paranoid himself. Anyway, they were finally cutting the bullshit, and now they were gunning to finish the job. They targeted me, begun their extensive mission to wear me down. And now they were moving in to kill me in the sickest, vilest, most disgusting way they could possibly imagine. I couldn't take it. I didn't want to die, so I had to kill them before they killed me. That sound again. Yesterday I heard the same exact creaking sound behind me. I whipped around, wincing in anticipation of what might come, and yet not a soul was behind me. There was no wheelchair in sight. It couldn't have been a hallucination. I heard it right fucking beside me. Was Shogun still attacking me? I broke into a mad dash. No way in hell was I gonna stand around all alone. Yeah, I think there's two. One of them is Hazuki, one of them is Sua. One of them's near the school, one of them's near Takumi. And yet, it followed me. Sound clung tightly to my back. I could hear it directly behind me as I ran. Stop it. Get away. Stop chasing me. Don't look at me. Kunaide. I was about to snap. I no longer had the stomach to take another look at behind me. I stumbled my way to the school gate. The bell still hadn't rung yet. I was on the verge of being tardy, but I could still see other students here and there. Just looking at another person was enough to make me flinch, but if I didn't go in the school building, I wouldn't be able to find Kozue. Steeling myself, I entered the school grounds when I heard something once again. But it wasn't a wheelchair this time. It was a cell phone shutter. My gaze shot all around myself. Who the hell? Who'd taken the photo? Nobody was looking at me. Nobody had a cell phone out. What the fuck? What the fucking fuck? I covered my ears and without looking where I was going, I bolted. Without stopping even once, I finally made it to the classroom. I was about to burst into the room only to frantically stop dead in my tracks and turn right back around. The class DQNs were all assembled there. The second my eyes had met one of them, I'd given up completely on going in. God damn it. The world was plagued with my enemies. Every single person was my enemy. All of you should die. Every fucking last one of you should die. Since I couldn't go in the room, I opted to just turn around and keep walking. Maybe a delusion or two about massacring those DQ pieces of shit would cheer me up. Bro, I don't know how this is gonna end up, man. Kozue and all. Holy shit. I only glanced in the room, but I haven't seen Kozue. Actually, there hadn't been any girls in the classroom at all. That was pretty strange, actually. but I still couldn't care less. All I cared about was figuring out where the hell Kozue had wandered off to. Of all times for her to completely disappear on me, it just had to be now. I was still wheezing from before, my breath violently forcing itself in and out of my lungs. When they saw me like that, the other students walking down the hall stopped and stared. Don't look at me. That sound again. Looking back, I saw 4 DQNs that I hadn't noticed before. They all had the biggest smirks on their face, and each one of their cell phones trained on me. Don't look at me! Ignore them. Kozue can just kill them later on. A delusion like that sounded so exhilarating. Every last one of them dying a horrible death. I had fucking out of this world. Kozue still was nowhere to be found. I have no clue where she was. Maybe she just hadn't come to school today? But if that was the case, then what was I supposed to do? I really doubted I could find out Shogun's attempts to break me, especially for a whole day. I've been pretending to be tough inside of my head this whole time, but my knees were still shaking uncontrollably. If I didn't stay focused for even 1 second, I'd literally sink to the floor and stay there. Kozue, where did you go? Where the hell did you go? Please, just save me. Startled, I stopped dead in my tracks. I heard a voice in my head that felt like it come from right next to me. Someone's in their voice.
コスピのせいじゃないもん。コスピのせいじゃないもん。助けて。
Kozue, where are you? Looking around, I saw. Oh my god! Here we go. Looking around, I saw Kozue squatting down near a corner by the entrance, cradling her head. The moment I saw her, a gasp forced its way from my mouth. She's bloodied. Her entire body was deep crimson, as if waves of red from an ocean of blood had crashed down upon her. No, it wasn't simply as if. She was undeniably covered in a ridiculous amount of blood. I wanted to scream, but my voice had stopped working. Wait, I'll be right back. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. Oh my god. Let's continue this. This is gonna be fun. I wanted to scream, but my voice had stopped working. Kozue, say something. Kozue. When I called out to her with my inner voice, Kozue slowly raised her head. Tears were flooding from her eyes, leaving them red and congested. Without getting up from the ground, she grabbed onto my shirt. She clung to me as if her life depended on it.
何を
たくみさんはコズピンの敵味方
Oh, they're both having. Oh my god! I like how they approach their relationship together like this. What was that supposed to mean? I tried to ask again, but she just buried her face in my chest, shook her head from side to side. The reddish black blood coating her entire body seeped into my uniform and slowly spread through it. I never realized how small Kozue truly was. Her body was so fragile. It felt like I might break it at any moment. Only when I embraced her had I finally come to realize this.
僕はコズピーの味方だ。だからコズピーに助けてもらいたい。
I only said what was on my mind. I was being fairly selfish, but Kozue was the only one I could turn to.
コズピンのこといじめない
I'm not gonna be a bully to you. The guys bullying me are my main concern. That's what's more important here. Anyway, I need your
コ
protection.
ズピンは守れないよ
What do you mean? You have a disordo.
だってあの子のことうまく扱えないぽ
Him? What? You're disordo? I asked what that inside my head, and Kozue nodded. She then nestled further into me.
だからねさっきのドカバキクシャーはコズピンのせいじゃ
Oh no, we have a Skizzle episode. Without warning, I was hit with a fierce impact. Images burst into my mind like an intense montage of flashbacks. The school, its rooftop, the fierce, rusty smell of blood, a sea of blood, endless chunks of meat strewn across the concrete, disconnected, disjointed hunks of flesh I couldn't identify, and Kozue standing in the middle of it, all her breathing heavy, and a disordo in her hand. Oh my god, she might be framed as a murderer, as a new gen killer like this. I then snapped back to myself, shocked. What the hell was that? That had definitely been the school rooftop. But what were all those other images? Had they been just a delusion? But they had been different from how my delusions usually were. By the way, this patch should return should allow to return the censored stuff. I'm not fully sure though if they, because it felt like it skipped something. It felt like it skipped something right now. I applied the Committee of Zero patch, so I thought that it would return the censored scenes. Maybe it had been my delusion with Kozube's. I felt like Senna had said something about gigalomaniacs who can make other people see their negative delusions. So maybe that was what had happened. But placing that aside for now, Kozube's blood-stained body clung to me. The blood on her body, was still wet. There were no signs that she'd been hurt, and she certainly wasn't acting like she had been. Therefore, the blood wasn't hers. I was trying my absolute hardest to conjure an explanation for the amount of blood she bathed in. There was nothing normal about this. It was utter insane. Whose blood was this? Possibly whose blood is this?
コズピをいじめた人たち
Possibly hung her head. She gently detached from me, and looked away as if she was in trouble. She raised her index finger to her lips. To me, It looked like she was sulking about something, or she was lapping up the blood on her finger. Isn't that someone else's blood?
他人の血だよ。
A feeling of dread surged up within me. Kozue, if that really is the case, you went way too far, didn't you? The school bell rang loudly, telling us homeroom had started. There wasn't a single sign of any students around us. They had all already gone to class. And so I made up my mind and began to head straight for the classroom. Trying my best to not get caught, I stealthily peeked in from the window.
これって
And what I saw left me shocked. Homeroom had already started, with the teacher standing in front of the room. And just like I've seen before, not a single girl was present inside the classroom. No way. I had to be sure. I had to be absolutely sure that it all been just a delusion. Oh no. She acted on her delusion. Oh my god. I took off for the roof and flung open the door leading to it. The first thing to hit me was the somber blue sky, and the next, a pool of blood. It was nothing but pure crimson. A literal sea of blood. When hit with the remains of the horrifying scene, a physiological revulsion, utter repulsiveness, and the overwhelming stench, it all pulled together, and I could no longer keep the contents of my stomach from emptying across the
た
concrete.
くみさんはコズピーの味方だよね。
I jumped. When I turned around, Kozue was standing right in front of me. Tears were welling up in the corners of her eyes, still soaked in blood. She turned to me. She smiled an innocent smile. I couldn't help but run away. I was afraid of Kozue. For smiling in that situation, for killing them brutally, I couldn't comprehend it. People that had been here weren't people anymore. They were in pieces, and she'd done that to them. The scene on the rooftop had been burned into my mind and refused to leave. It repeated endlessly, looping over and over again in my mind. And each time it did, I was hit with the most intense feeling of nausea. I lost count of how many times I'd dry heave. I ran all around the school with no real destination in mind. Homeroom had already started, so there was no one in the halls. Kozue wasn't following me. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Was running away the smart thing to do, or should I have stayed with her? Kozue saw me as an enemy because I ran away. Would I be fucked? If she started thinking me as an enemy, would she tear me to pieces like she had those girls on the rooftop? Oh god, no, please no. But what if that was true? What should I have done? Even if I went back to Kozue, I had no idea what to say or do. I just kept on running and running, almost tripping every couple of seconds. And at the very next corner I went, I very nearly ran into two people. It was Mizumi-kun, together with one of the DQNs from my class who made fun of me earlier. Wait, his clothes should be bloodstained a little, right? He looked at me with clear unease, while the DQN in front of me blocked my path. The DQN had the most malicious grin on his face.
Yo, Espa. お前、ちょっと超能力使ってくんね?
Wait, his clothes should be stained in blood right now. I bit my lip. I didn't make eye contact. If I did, I knew I would get punched right then and there. The DQN made no moves to take out his cell phone. If he did, however, I very well might have lost it and killed him, just like Kozue had with those girls.
クラスの女子が授業をボイコットしたみたいだよ。誰も来ねえから、俺ら今探してるわけよ。でもだるいと思うね。ミスミやミナコが心配みてえだけどよ。どうせ集団でサボってるだけだろ。そう思うよな、エスパー。
Holy shit! Oh, you don't wanna know. I didn't respond, and as a result, a sharp pain ran through me as he kicked me in the hip.
おい、シカトしてんじゃねえよ。やめろよ。
The second Mizumi-kun spoke up, the DQN stopped dead in his tracks.
たく、ミナコ見なかったか。チャイム鳴るまでいたんだけどよ。今はメールしても電話しても帰ってこねえんだ。
Oh no! I couldn't tell him. I couldn't tell him about the tragedy that happened on the rooftop. I had no idea who Minako was, but I assumed she was Misumi-kun's girlfriend. Could she have been among the tattered pieces of meat scattered across the rooftop? She whispers blood, by the way. And what about Rimi? Had Kozue killed her too? She shouldn't have. Rimi had been missing for a while. She hadn't been at school either. Really, I couldn't believe I was still worrying about her after everything that happened. What the hell was I expecting her to do? She was never gonna come back anyway, so what was even the point? Okay. I guess in all routes, all the route girls, except for Rimi's, of course, at this point, she already lost faith in Rimi.
なあエスパー、お前なんで服に血がつい
Here
て
you
ん
go,
の
here you go. Oh my god, they're gonna straight up think he killed he killed the people on the rooftop. A shudder ran through me. It was blood from Kozue when Kozue had clung to me. It had transferred from her onto me, and now it fully covered the edge of my shirt. Misumi-kun's eyes widened, and he gasped.
タク、何かあったのか？
何もないよ。
Oh my god! I think that was the bad option because someone had witnessed someone with blood all over them. And, you know, the natural conclusion is that they will think that he did it when they go to the rooftop. It's not good. But tell me this is also the route. This is another route where Misumi-kun tries to kill Taku. Oh my god! That's fucking route. So tell me this is the route where that happens. Because we already saw it in Ayase. Negative delusion. Was it Ayase's negative delusion or was it you? Anyway, there was a negative delusion. I think it's in the main story, but I have a feeling it's gonna come back. The sprite where Misumi-kun has like a fucking knife and he's all bloodied. Oh my god, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen, man. The second that left my mouth, I whipped around and ran away as fast as I could. I heard a voice calling after me, but I ignored it. I bolted down the stairs. But in my chaotic frenzy, I lost my footing and tumbled all the way down to the landing. As I lay down on the ground, I lost all will to stand back up again. Would I ever be able to find peace again? Why did all these insane, horrific things keep happening to me one after the other?
タク、
Is that Rimi? A voice called my name. I only knew a single girl that called me that. I slowly, timidly looked up and saw a hand stretched out before me. She's back!
どうしたの？
Best girl is
そんなに慌て
back!
てどこか怪我してない？
Best girl is back! Oh my god, best girl is back! And Kozue is around. Oh my god. How is this gonna go? It was Rimi. Rimi was here.
僕は
I felt tears starting to well up. Not wanting to embarrass myself, I fought them back and took the hand she was offering to me. It was so very warm. Rumi pulled me to my feet.
本当に大丈夫？かなり派手に転んでたけど。
She brushed off my clothes, not leaving a single spot on me untouched. Did she see the blood on his blazer?
リミどこへ
Where had she been for all this time? Why hadn't she contacted me? She said she would protect me.
ああ、私は今日は遅刻。
That didn't answer my question. But when I saw the confused airhead smile of hers, my fear ever so slightly subsided. That smile had saved my life many times before. When I saw it, I no longer had any need to ask her where she'd been or what she'd been doing. I didn't need to ask her why she hadn't contacted me. Rumi had come back to me, and everything would be okay now. No matter what enemy I might come to, Rumi would protect me. Or would she? Would she truly protect me? Had Kozue really just so happened to not kill Remy? A flicker of doubt appeared in the corner of my mind. It rose up in me like a passing thought. Oh yeah, at this point he was super paranoid. She had been absent for all this time, but she just so happened to come back today. And then she just so happened to school on the day she just so happened to come back. And then Kosubi just happened to commit murder on the same day. Remy just so happened to come in late. Oh no, he's gotta go full schizo here, man. No, don't think about it. Stay positive. I rub my temples with my fingers, trying to calm myself down. Wait, Remy still hasn't commented regarding his bloody blazer.
なんだか具合も悪そうだね。保健室に連れてってあげる。そこで少し休んだ方がいいよ。
As she said that, Remy pulled me by my hand.
ほら、行こう。
Taku, I want you to go out, run out of the school. This isn't a good way. This isn't a good. You literally just ran because someone asked about your bloody blazer, and then wait, isn't it weird? Remy isn't commenting on the blazer. he should kind of be bothered about it. Did Remy not know about the tragedy that had happened on the rooftop? But wasn't that only natural? She had said she had been tardy today. And the fact she didn't dare to oh, there you go. She didn't dare ask about the blood on my clothes was just her being considerate to me. It had to be. Yeah, at this point, I think Remy was always watching over Taku at this point, but she just didn't go to the class. But I think at this point she saw there was a shitstorm happening inside the school, so she had to come back. Remy attempted to pull my reluctant self down the stairs, but I planted my feet right before the entrance. Oh yeah, I remember Remy is also a mind reader, so she would have heard all his thoughts.
ドッグ
She kept on trying to pull me along, pretty forcefully, too, but I gently shook her hand off. Turning left in this hallway would bring us to the staff room, and after that, the school's nurse office. From there, if we kept going straight and exited at the hall, we'd end up at the sports courts yard, and after which would be the school gate. I didn't want to see anyone today if I could help it. I didn't even want to walk through the school. I mean, you could just straight up tell Remy that you wanted to go back to the base, and she would be happy to join you, man. I mean, considering that's our MO. I mean, he doesn't know that's our MO, but he would he was better off just saying he wanted to go back to his base, and you know. Anyway, someone was going to find the slaughter up on the rooftop at any moment, and when they did, a huge panic would break out. I would probably end up being the prime suspect since my clothes were caked with blood and all. That was why I wanted to get away from the school as soon as possible. I should just avoid the nurse's office and go straight to the entrance. I was thinking about the possibility of him being the first one to report it, but I realized that in Kozupi's case, she would consider Taku an enemy straight up. Like, I was thinking, how do you defuse a situation like that? How do you defuse a situation like that, man? Like, fuck. Like, if you like, I mean, if you're the first person if you're the first person to witness something like that, how do you ensure no one thinks that you were the murderer right there and there? So far, Taku has like encountered Misumi-kun and the DQN, and he has all the bloody. His blazer was bloody, so you know, he didn't even he gave an answer, nothing wrong, and he tried to excuse himself. Doesn't that make him automatically suspicious to those two guys? Anyway, that was why. Anyway, I already read this one. I planned to tell Remy about the rooftop and Kozupi, but when I turned around, oh shit! Why did she get her Disordo out? Oh, because she mind read the shit. Remy was holding something sharp and pointed. No, was that a Disordo? It looked like a pair of steel wings. and the tips of the wings were pointed straight at me. Rumi was going to stab me in the back at any moment now. So our eyes met. Rumi's eyes were filled with grief. She was the first to break eye contact.
ごめんね。
Wait, what? Why is she attempting to kill him right here now? Softly murmuring those few words, she brandished her D sword. She was about to kill me. Rumi was about to. Wait, why did she brandish it this early on? I lost control. The second she was about to swing, I gripped my wrist to protect myself. Wait, why was she doing this early on? I was a lazy piece of shit, and I practically never exercised, yet I still had enough strength to overpower her. What the hell? Why is she doing it this early? Like, I'd expect her at least to do it like after. I expected her to do it after like after the Noah 2 and all. And this is just straight up. I don't get it. What was going on?
なんでだよ
This bitch. And the end, had Rumi had been just another enemy? Had she been lying to me the whole time? Just like Hiwa had back then? Was she just trying to fuck me over too? Was Rumi also one of Shogun's underlings? Actually, she's literally number one. Anyway, number one lieutenant. She was his underling. Did that mean that she had been behind the new gen the entire time and had been right from the very start?
なんでこんな
ごめん。でも、パパに消えてもらうしかないの。
The hell is going? No, I don't get this. Why is she doing this early on? That decided it. There was no misunderstanding here. Rumi really was my enemy. This was her true nature. All that shit about protecting me had been nothing but a lie.
嘘だこんなの嘘だ
嘘つい。ごめん。
No, I really don't get. Okay, let's
お
continue.
願い。
Let's just read. It would be explained the route, right? They would explain it, right?
避けるなふざけるなよ
I mean, we already know why she wants to do it, but why is she doing it way earlier than the usual timeline?
僕がどれだけリミのことを信用してたと思ってるんだどれだけリミを頼りにしてたと思ってるんだなんでそんな簡単に人を裏切れるんだよこの悪魔女め
タク。ごめん。
ごめんで済むかよ何様だよ
I realized I was crying. A betrayal like this, I couldn't. The pure rage and frustration I was feeling right now, what I had felt with Yua didn't even come close. Rumi had shit all over all the feelings I had for her. I'll never forgive you. 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 I'm gonna kill you. I'll never forgive you. I'm gonna kill you. I'll never forgive you. I'll never forgive you. I'm gonna kill you. Gripping her wrist even tighter, Rumi's expression contorted in agony. But the pain I felt was far worse. She tore my heart into fucking shreds. I'll never forgive you. I could never fucking forgive you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking...
殺してやる。
Oh, there you go. Okay, this is why it's Kozumi's route. I hope they explain it. I really hope they explain it because this is way too early in the timeline. It happened in an instant. Right before my very eyes, Rumi's figure vanished. Her body was blown to the side toward the shoe lockers and slammed right into them. She had been done for the moment she hit the metal lockers, obliterating them in the process. A thick cloud of dust enveloped the room. At first, I have no idea what the hell had happened.
たくみさんの心の叫びね。聞こえたよ。
This is why it's Kazumi's route. But holy shit, I'm still bothered. Like, this is way too early. I personally felt betrayed. I mean, I could accept Remy stabbing Takumi at the end, but this is way too early. Like, she literally had no reason to, as far as I know at this point. Even I got shocked. Right before me, brandishing her disorder, was Kozue. Her expression was incredibly pain. Sweat shone on her forehead, and yet, even despite those things, she still forced herself to smile at me.
殺したいって、許せないって。だから、殺してあげたのら。
Her inner voice drew all of that at me.
殺した。本当に。殺し。
Unable to believe what I had just seen, I approached the demolished shoe lockers. The disorder that was used to be Remy's rushed against the tip of my shoe. It was lying on the floor, deprived of its owner. Liquid slowly pooled beneath the sword. Blood. Whose blood was it? I didn't have to think long to know. Eventually, the disorder by my feet was enveloped by countless particles and vanished into the air. Remy was dead? Just like that? I didn't have the slightest urge to confirm it. Sadness washed over me. At the same time, I was left with an inescapable sense of regret. I had killed my own emotions deep down. Had my feelings numbed me to everything, or had I numbed my emotions to everything? It didn't matter anymore. At least the tears had stopped falling. I don't know. This is a strong whiplash, man. Like, the person you trusted the most suddenly just betrayed you. So you have like the most betrayed feeling of hurt and all. Like, at some point, he pretty much still loved her at this point, right? Okay, we're gonna use Senna. Like, she kills her dad. If she actually kills her dad, like, based on uh ending A or ending B, she just breaks, right? She always breaks if she kills her dad. And in this situation, it's like, yeah, sure, he got betrayed, but uh, you know, he still hasn't processed everything yet. He hasn't, like, you know. And then Kozue just shows up and kills her.
コズピー、僕を助けて。
Okay, there you go. He already rationalized it as he can trust Kozue, I guess. Right now, Kozue was the only one I could depend on. There you go. He already rationalized that this is the case. Even though Remy had betrayed me, I still wanted someone to believe in. Or maybe I just wanted someone I could be with. Someone who would accept me. All that stuff about wanting to be protected was just an excuse. I didn't want to be alone. Even if she might betray me, even if I had been betrayed already, I didn't want to be alone. I couldn't bear all this awful bullshit on my own. If I was on my own, I guarantee I would cease to be me. I would just up and disappear. I would approach Kozue, desperate for someone to cling to. When I looked at her, I saw what I saw was how terribly sad she looked. The sheer pain in her face, her smile had long since disappeared. I made up my mind and embraced her tiny shoulders. She didn't fight it.
さっきはコズピーから逃げたのに。
ごめん。ごめんなさい。それでも、助けてくれ。
たくみちゃんはコズピーの味方？
Who could say how many people Kozue had killed? Who could say what would happen if the police caught us? Knowing all that, would it really turn out okay if the two of us stayed together? I asked myself such a question, but it didn't take long for me to find my answer. Right now, I was together with Kozue, and as long as we stayed together, it would all turn out okay. We had bigger enemies than the police. Enemies that were far dangerous to be faced alone. This really feels like a route. It's a twisted route, but it really feels like a route. I think this is like a better step up compared to like Naname's and Yua's. I mean, I like Naname's route, but this is like it feels like a route. You know what I mean? It feels like a route. It doesn't feel like a backstory route or whatever, some shit.
僕には コズピーが必要だ。一緒にいたい。
たくみさんは身勝手な人なの。
Upon saying that, she wrapped her arms around my back. With the little strength she had left, she held me in return.
でもね、コズピーのこと必要って言ってくれたから、コズピーもたくみさん一生懸命守る。前に汚いおじさんが言ってたのら、我慢することないって負の感情を否定しちゃダメって。だからコズピーをいじめる人みんな殺すね。それとたくみさんをいじめる人も。
Feelings, both cold to touch, warm as the sun, found their way to her, from her to me. Feelings inside her that contradicted. Madness, kindness. Yeah, this is messed up. This is lovely messed up. Whether it was the same way her inner voice could reach me, or it was all in my head, I didn't know. Right as that thought drifted through my mind, a girl's scream echoed throughout the school grounds. It had come from the top of the building. Okay, you guys need to run. You guys need to run now. Had she found the slaughter on the rooftop? We had to run. Kozue, if we stay here, the police will catch us. For some reason, the moment I let go of her body, she immediately sank to the ground. What's wrong?
すごく疲れてるのら、体だるいの。ねえたくみさん、コズピーね、心の中に真っ黒な妄想がどんどん生まれてくるよ。押しつぶされちゃいそうなの。
Black delusions? What do you mean? Regardless of what she meant, staying here wasn't an option. With Rumi's corpse lying here, anyone who spot us would find out exactly what happened, what we'd done. By the way, why the hell did Rumi straight up attack Takumi this early on? Like, I'd expect at least she would wait until the very end, or at least try to. I mean, she's at this point. Yeah, at this point. Yeah, actually, at this point, she did return, but I don't get why she would return this early on. Why she would attack him this early on. I know at this point on the other routes, she does return at this point, but she really had no reason to kill him this early on. It felt like they randomly pulled. I mean, we know she was going to attempt to kill Takumi, but there was a concept of timing of things. So I'm still bothered. I don't know. Let's go through the route. If this route ends without them explaining why the fuck Rimi did what she did earlier than she's supposed to, it's kind of like, yeah, that's a big minus to me. That's a big minus to me. So without getting an answer from her, I lent Kozue my shoulder, and the two of us began to leave the school. Leave the room. That was my brain thingy. We walked through the halls. As nice as it would have been to just leave, we were both covered in blood. Kozue couldn't walk in her current state, and I had the feeling that if we went outside, we would be hit with cops all waiting for us out there, cliche. It was probably best to hide out somewhere. Even one of the empty classrooms would probably work. The atmosphere was tense. The scream earlier had kick-started a slow-growing commotion inside the school. Teachers quickly ran by us in a hurry. Students left their classrooms, ignoring that homeroom was still in session. I cautiously peered around the school to try and see what had happened. Shit, there were a lot of people. Maybe it would have been better to just leave after all. Yeah, I was thinking they would just escape, but yeah, I guess it would be hard for them to just go out and leave. They would be caught. And they had to hide somewhere like. There it was again. The noise again. Just stop it. Just stop it. I was gonna go fucking insane. A few students spotted me from a distance, and not just students, but a few teachers too. Every single one of them had their cell phones out and were aiming them at us. And for some odd reasons, they were all holding mirrors in their hands. Oh my god, they're having a delusion. Someone's doing a delusion attack. Someone's Suwa or Hazuki or holding them. They're fucking with their minds right now. Coupled with a black rat. Infernal bloodlust sprouted inside my head. Something within me was about to snap.
殺してやる
Perhaps embodied by my bloodlust. Kosubi's heart reeked of its own hunger for blood.
殺してやる殺してやる殺してやる
Kosubi was reacting to the mirrors. Despite the fact she was having so much trouble walking, she raised her D-sword overhead anyway. Kosubi, don't do it. Clutching her fatigued frame, I tried to hold her back.
殺してやる
But I couldn't do it. Kosubi's body freed itself from me with tremendous force. Pulled along by her sword, Kosubi charged the group holding mirrors. Her legs tangled with one another. She nearly tripped and fell. And yet she managed to move forward. I swung her enormous D-sword. Oh, she's gonna kill everyone again. Where's Senna around this time?
死ね死ね
Where the fuck is Senna at this time, man? And with a single swing, she had claimed about 4 human lives. It was a staggering storm of destruction and brutality. Her movements and posture were like a novice's. If she leaned back any further, she'd fall over. And yet her sword's trajectory was both abnormally accurate and fast. Her aim was precise as she claimed each and every one of their lives with a single blow each. Almost like she wasn't the one swinging the sword. The sword was the one swinging her. As she bathed in the fountains of blood, Kosubi began to cower.
死ねばいいのみんな殺したくない剣が勝手に剣に依存しちゃえばいいのらこれがコズピーの本性なのかな
I could hear Kozubi's current mental state. Her mind was in total disarray, a total chaotic mess. I lent my shoulder to Kozubi once more and climbed the stairs along with her. But the very next moment, we ran into Misumi-kun and the other DQNs coming down the stairs. Oh my god! I don't know how this is gonna go. Let's go! Shit, these guys again. I bit my lip.
おいおいこいつら血まみれじゃねえか
For a split second, the DQN who spoke was taken aback. But the very next one, Misumi-kun grabbed me by my chest. Oh no, 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 no. This is the first time we saw this fucking dust, right, man? Holy shit! He's out for murder, man. His face was teeming with fury.
おかよお前らが殺したのかよミナコ
Seriously, who the hell was Minako? Noticing my confusion, the DQNs held Misumi-kun back.
まあ待てよミスミまだそうと決まったわけじゃねえだろだいたいあんなことよりによってこの二人ができるわけねえって
All that? They were definitely talking about the slaughter on the roof.
それよりよエスパ
僕はエスパーじゃん
ーうるせえよ口答えすんなカス
I tried to tell him I wasn't an esper, but he wasn't having any of it. His threat caused me to shrink back. Feeling unbelievably pathetic, I began to wonder if Kozuki would murder everyone here if I wanted her to.
殺してもいいよ
Kozuki, chill out.
やだ殺したくない
Kozuki's mind was a chaotic mess of conflicting, contradictory emotions.
殺せない
Bro, if everyone looked as red as this, they are ultra suspicious.
殺すことも受け入れるべきなの
She should just give in. That was one thing I could never do.
でよ、エスパー。お前の妹って、お前に似合わず可愛いんだな。ナナミだっけ？
What? Why the hell did this DQN know about Nanami?
だからよ、ちょっと可愛がってやったんだよ。
何や言って。
わかんねえの？
The DQN, acting far too friendly with me, placed his hand on my shoulder. Even though he was a guy, it was covered with the smell of perfume. The smell was so strong it made me want to vomit.
俺の連れ、だいたい10人くらいでいつもつるんでるんだけどな。ちょっと暇してたわけよ。で、女ナンパするかって話になった時によ、提供してくれたんだよね。お前の妹。
提供って。
Nanami wasn't some fucking object to be offered. What the hell had they done to her? Wait, no. More importantly, who the hell had they offered them Nanami?
ダーススパイダーだよ。
All words left me.
わざわざ向こうから声かけてきてよ。お前の妹を好きにしていいとか言って渡してきたんだよね。マジでウケるだろ？
My vision turned bright red. Within my mind, it felt as if my blood was boiling. It billowed and bubbled, rising up to my head like magma.
ナナミに何を？
Oh my god, we're having a mini super heebie moment here, man.
あ？だから可愛がってやったっつってんだろ？そうそう。妹さ、片手なかったぜ。痛そうだったな。
That had all been real. When I come home afterward to check, I haven't been able to find that damn hand. So that was why.
なあ、ミスミ。お前も教えてやれよ。お前だってあの場にいたんだからよ。
それよりミナコ。
Forget that shit? Forget that shit? What the fuck could possibly be more important? My sister is what matters to you, you piece of shit. Don't you fucking dare compare that fucking horse cunt Minaka to my precious little sister.
おう、そうそう。記念に写真撮っといたぜ。なあ、エスパーも見てえか？見せてやるよ。
I'll fucking kill you.
画像っと。うん、あった。これこれ。
Bro, we're having our super
見
heebie
ろよ、
moment
エ
here.
スパー。
The DQN grabbed me by the jaw and forced me to look at the image. The photograph was definitely Nanami, but she was covered in blood. Her eyes were hollow. And she was completely like, fuck. Oh my god, this is our mini Subahibi route. Holy shit. This is the most fucked up route so far, man. I'm not gonna read this. You guys know what the fuck is going on. The knife I've been gripping dug itself deep into the DQN's bastard's chest. I brought it with me today just in case I needed it. Apparently, I myself had stabbed him. I pulled it out and stabbed him with it again and again. Then I did it again. Oh my god, this is the route!
おい、やめろタク。
うるさい。
I pulled it out, stabbed it back in.
ミスミ、お前も死ねばいいんだ。よくもナナミを、世界中の全員が死ねばいいんだ。僕が殺してやんよ。
I pulled it out and stabbed it back in. Then again, and then again. The DQN wasn't moving anymore, with his eyes open wide and his mouth drooling blood. He was very much dead. Unless he is having a delusion here, and It's also possible he got a delusion attack and he thought what was being shown to him was like Nanami. Everything here was kind of it's possible to have a delusion attack here.
ねえ、コズピー。全員、撃ち殺してよ。
With a sad look on her face, Kozubi nodded. Her sword rose in her hand. It rebooted with a furious resonant noise, and then Misumi could only stare in shock at the abrupt embodiment of mayhem.
Huh?
Oh my god, this fucking ground! Holy shit! With a single swipe, Misumi-kun's head was blown clean off. She had swung her sword so violently she lost balance and fell right on her ass. Misumi's collapsing body fell on top of her, soaking her clothes with blood. Despite looking wholly miserable, she pushed the corpse aside and then she looked at me and smiled. This fucking crowd.
たくみさんも殺しちゃったね。
Was she crying, suffering, or simply smiling? Within her pain smile was a mix of so many different emotions. Okay, I totally understand why the fuck she's so she's so desensitized with like all the murder and all that shit. She already, I mean, everyone. Oh man, this point, man.
なんで敵だらけなんだろう。もうやだ。
She was sobbing inside her heart. But it was just as she said. We had enemies everywhere, so we had no choice but to kill them. That was what they all deserved. I wasn't the one in the wrong here. The piece of shit that attacked were. It was payback for what they'd done to Nanami. Nanami, was she still alive? With all that blood, she was probably long dead. That and her severed hand. There was no way she was alive. They would never get away with this. I'd make fucking sure of it. I've been on the run for so long that ended here. I would kill every last one of them. Every last one. When I seen the horrible, cruel image of Nanami, something inside me snapped. And now there would be no stopping me. Nanami, man. I mean, it's still possible that it's a delusion attack, but Suwa Mamoru stood before the gate to Sume Private Academy, gazing intently at the building. The car he had driven there sat along the gate, his back leaning up against it. Although he wore a suit, a rucksack adorned his back as well. Emanating from it was a bizarre mechanical sound. It's totally possible that was a delusion attack. It was totally possible. The atmosphere within the school was one of intense bubbling tumult. One Suwa could feel even from where he stood. The pure hilarity of it all left Suwa unable to contain his laughter. Yeah, he could have performed like a super delusion attack. Wait, I'll be right back. I need to refill. I'm just gonna refill my humidifier. Like I'm just gonna pour over one tank and we're good. It's gonna be quick, like maybe a minute. Yeah, but I think it's he did a delusion attack. It's probably possible that Nanami was like, but also at the same time, maybe that's why Ribi had attacked Taku that early on. It's totally possible. We're back. Let's go. This fucking route, man. Yeah, I think this is a huge, giant, delusional attack.
今日こそ西条匠のコードサンプルを手に入れなきゃっすからね。
His utterance was not directed at anyone in particular, and was only heard by himself. Around him stood several other men. Unlike Suwa, their attire was far more uncouth and casual, though they all carried rucksacks just as he did. Oh, they really went full in on the delusion attack right now. Oh shit, they really went all in here. They were all very evidently suspicious, with their eyes remaining glued to the school, speaking not a word to each other. All that seeped from their mouths were the same utterings as Suwa, spoken to no one but themselves.
そのためにこの学校を実験場にしたんすから。もともとここはそのために望みが作ったんすけどね。
Oh, so they were really planning a full-blown delusion attack. Okay. Sume Private Academy had been founded by an institution backed by both Nozomi Technology and the Cosmic Church of Divine Light. Oh, I like how they kind of okay, this is interesting. For this reason, the number of Kozue maniacs who enrolled were far higher than normal. Their proximity was no mere coincidence. It was mere inevitable that they had all gathered here, and to this, there were none the wiser. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. So they would do something like this. But that as it may, Suwa could not help but let out a faint sigh. Up until this moment, he had employed countless methods of attempting to break Nishijo Takumi. It had been an attempt to gather Nishijo's code sample, but the boy was far weaker, far more pathetic than he anticipated, and because of this, the boy would never find the motivation to be awakened as a Gigomaniac. Never would he have thought that one single boy would be so much trouble. However, this would end today.
もう回りくどいことはなしで、とっておきの祭りを提供してやるっすよ。
There was no doubt that countless innocent people would die here, but the numbers of deaths hardly mattered. The Cosmic Church of Divine Light's founder had said so, and Suwa had thus been compelled to believe so. In the end, it really did not matter. The third melt would bring Shibuya to ruin this very day. So they were gonna do the third melt after this anyway. No matter how many high schoolers died, they would have been treated as sacrifices, lost in the earthquake, and the truth of this day would be buried beneath the rubble. None would even ever know of the murders that occurred here. I was thinking if in the normal timeline... Yeah, I think in the normal timeline, they still wouldn't... they wouldn't have... I'm trying to think what they did on the day of the third melt. Because on the day of the third melt, Takumi was able to go through like an entire day of school. So it just so happened in this route, Nozomi and the Church of Divine Light decided to do all this shit earlier than tried to do the shit early instead of like they did everything in the third melt itself.
さてと。
That's an interesting difference.
じゃあ行きますかね。
Suo opened the trunk of his cart and retrieved his dark spider helmet. He put it on slowly and deliberately. When it stood along his suit and rucksack, the dark spider helmet made Suo appear all more conspicuous. But this was not something that even remotely bothered him. With an air of utter composure, he advanced into the school. And upon Suwa's signal, the man with the rucksacks followed closely behind him, remaining in complete utter silence. Oh shit. They're really going full on with the delusion attacks. I let my shoulder to Kozue, and the two of us left for the courtyard. And when we got there, Sana was waiting for us. She was glaring at us with a harsh scowl on her face. Her disorder was out, real booted and emanating a real beam of light. Oh, they're gonna fight Sana.
罠にはめられているんだ。すべて精神攻撃だ。その影響でみんなおかしくなっているに過ぎない。 真の悪に気づけ。元凶を叩かなければ悪夢は終わらない。
Okay, maybe let's see how this plays out. I have a feeling it will end up with Senna still dying. I have a feeling. I don't know. Let's see how this goes.
ポーターだ。リュックを背負っている奴らがどこかにいるはず。そいつらが妄想攻撃を。
Unless maybe that would explain why Senna and Kozue were together when they maybe that will explain why they were together when they during the third melt, after the third melt, because for some reason you saw Senna and Kozue. I mean, it's totally possible they were just hanging out together, but the third melt happened and they decided to attack. But maybe this would explain why the hell they were together. Maybe the school, no, because the school had this incident in the school didn't happen in the other routes, right? So
セナさんはコズビーの味方だよね。
コズ。
真の悪って何？その影響があるから何なのかな。コズビーとタクミさんを攻撃してきたゴキさんたちはね、自動的に敵だよ。だから殺すの。殺したくない。
the voice in Kozubi's head wasn't making any sense. Her mind was a chaotic maze. Yeah.
それが敵の思うツボなんだ。
みんなでストーカーしてくるんだもん。怖いんだもん。コズビーでなくなっちゃいそうになるんだもん。
I felt the same. The click of the camera shutters, the creaking of the wheelchair, just hearing those things made me feel like my brain itself was disintegrating. Yeah, they had a delusion attack. It's like they decided to have a much more stronger delusion attacks on them. They were really forcing they were really forcing Takumi's hand here. I just wanted to let myself go, surrender to that oh so enticing bloodlust, or maybe I already had.
お前たちは何と戦っているのか把握しているのか。
Yeah, I guess I don't want to dismiss the reason why Rimi decided to attack them was because she had the delusion attack herself early on. Heck, it's even I don't know. Yeah, I mean, so you could explain it in a way just like that, but it feels cheap, man. Anyway, I didn't know who the enemy was. I didn't know anything at all, really. Was my enemy Shogun or was it someone else? I didn't even know who was attacking who anymore. What I could say for sure though was that everyone and everything in this world was against me.
妄想に惑わされるな。お前たちは自分の妄想によって殺されようとしている。コズエ、それ以上ディソードを使うんじゃない。負の物質がお前の心と体を侵食しているんだ。
Oh, here we are. The side effects of like using the D sword. So they themselves are like getting weaker because they kept using the D sword. Oh, that explains why Senna was very emotional or whatever. She was quick to maybe that I don't know if it was her personality thing or just some bullshit explanation of why she's like very emotional. Oh, I think this is kind of tying up with Ayase as well. Ooh, this is interesting.
まともに歩けなくなっているんだろ。このままだとお前という存在が崩壊する。
セナシャンはコズビーたちの味方？
The voice sounded like it was begging for salvation. Kozue pleaded for an answer once more. I too waited with bated breath to what Senna might say. I wasn't expecting anything. I really wasn't, but
私はお前たちの味方だ。
Senna answered decisively.
お前たちを攻撃している敵は私が倒す。だからもう妄想するな。
I was saved. I had someone else on my side besides Kozue. Another friend. Kozue slowly lowered her sword.
よかった。セナちゃん、大好きなのら。
Tears began to form in the corners of her eyes. Kozubi's gaze clung to Senna like a lost puppy. Without warning, Kozubi swung her Disordo. Senna instinctively deflected the blow with her own. However, the shock of the attack was enough to blow her backward, and she fell to the ground.
小津何を
What the fuck?
コズビー
Senna made it clear she was on our side. Why are you trying to kill her?
違う、コズピーじゃない。
Crying out in her inner voice, she swung the sword up past her head and held it above Senna.
コズピーじゃないよ。
Don't tell me she's being controlled or something. She swung down with the intent to kill. With only a nanosecond to spare, Senna rolled across the ground, just barely avoiding being cleaved into two. Quickly getting back to her feet, she brandished her Disordo once again.
私を殺すつもりか小津
Crying profusely, Kozubi shook her head back and forth and wildly in fierce denial.
違うよ。手が勝手に。助けて。セナちゃん、タクミちゃん。
What the fuck? This route keeps on giving and keeps on giving and giving, man. How the hell is this route ranked lower compared to ISS? Well, ISS is also good. It's very interesting on its own. Or maybe this is more like I feel like there's stakes involved here. I feel like there are huge stakes involved. Yeah, maybe it's my preference. What the hell was happening to her? Seriously, what the fuck is going on?
負の妄想に取りつかれてしまっている自分でディソードを制御できていないのか
So against Kozubi's own will, she was now an indiscriminate killing machine.
小津ディソードを消せこいつ
Fucking route keeps on giving, man. Holy shit. A voice spoke, but it wasn't her inner voice. It was Kozubi's actual voice. Chanting kill to no end, the exact opposite of what her inner voice wanted.
Senna, コズビーを助けてあげてよ
All I could do was beg from the sidelines. There was no way I could have walked into the middle of the fray.
妄想を見せて無力化を
Kozubi launched an unrelenting attack, but all she was doing was barreling around with her Disordo. It was a purely brutish attack with no aim, one only a total idiot would use.
殺したくないのに。セナちゃんのこと殺したくないのに。
Despite her body staggering around, despite her feet drunkenly stumbling, despite her gaze not even facing Senna, Kozubi's sword headed straight towards Senna, without fail, doing everything in its power to rip her into two.
殺す。ぶち殺してやる。
Lashing out at her with nothing but nonsensical attacks, her assault continued. Each and every swing was extremely heavy, yet sharp as could be. Senna was pressed for time. Her expression grew restless.
この
The swords immediately clashed with one another. Senna repelled her blow, breaking Kozubi's guard. But in Kozubi's counterattack, her Disordo seemed to disregard the very laws of physics themselves. Oh shit, don't tell me Senna's dead. Thick blood sprayed from her slender body.
それは妄想だ
This fucking route, man. Yeah, maybe because this is much more sensational route. I don't know, man. It'll be fun. Senna cut around and made her way to Kosubi's back. The once bloody corpse of Senna vanished. Oh, she did a delusion attack. Taking advantage of Kosubi's shock, Senna managed to pin her arms behind her in the back.
ディソードを捨てろ小杖。
離せ離せ離せ離せ離せ離せ。殺してコズピーのこと殺してセナシャ。コズピーは悪くない。コズピーは悪くない。みんなが悪いんだ。こんな自分もう見たくない。セナシャンも殺したくない。だから
Kosubi's mind and body were at odds at one another. They had split completely into two. The small body thrashed around violently in an attempt to break free, but in her mind she could only weep.
頼む。剣を捨ててくれ小杖。元に戻ってくれ。私はお前を見捨てたりしない。お前は私のたった一人の友達で。
And I feel bad for Senna. Well, I feel bad for everyone here because everyone's like a loner basically. Anyway, tears formed in Senna's eyes. She was crying. Right then, Senna's Kosubi's arm made the strangest of movements, bending in a direction that shouldn't have been possible. A dull cry could be heard as her joint dislocated. A muted scream came from her. Oh no, no, don't tell me she's actually dead right now. Before I knew what happened, Senna, who had been keeping Kosubi pinned, had been impaled from behind by Kosubi's boorish Sordo. The edge gnawed through her, grinding into her flesh like a saw. In the blink of an eye, Senna's clothes was turning deep crimson. Grinding her teeth in pure anger, she tried to toss Kosubi aside to put space between them, but she was too late. Kosubi whipped around and slashed her sword into a straight horizontal line. Oh, recipe Senna. And the side of Senna's body was torn to pieces. Kosubi turned to Senna, who was writhing in intense agony. And then she thrust her D-sword directly into her.
死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ。
小杖。すまない。すまない。
死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ。
お前のこと助けてやれなくて。私のこと慕ってくれたのに。私はお前の力になれなくて。
死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ。
お前の SOS もっと
SOS. I like how he used the word SOS.
気づいてあげられたら。小杖と話している時間が私にとって唯一ほっとできる時間だった。
死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ死んじゃえ。
慕ってくれてありがとう。
死ね。
Oh man. She didn't even get to finish saying thank you. I couldn't look straight at it.
死んだの？
She was dead. Senna was dead, just like everyone else. Even though she'd been our friend, even though she could have saved me and Kosubi, Kosubi had killed her. The sword remained pierced into our friend's corpse. Kosubi's disjointed arm hung down lifelessly, and on her face was a smile, accompanied with a waterfall of tears.
セナちゃん。セナちゃん、返事して。一緒にガルガリ君食べに行こうよ。匠 また写真撮ってまた。
Her heart was crying out in despair.
たくみさん、セナさん、どうして返事してくれないのかな。どうして。
Senna is dead.
殺しちゃった。殺しちゃったよ。
Kozue fell to her knees. With one hand, Kozue slowly picked up what was left of Senna's lifeless corpse. What had once been a girl of intense beauty was now smeared from head to toe in blood, with her long black hair covered her face.
こんなコズピーね、こんなこと望んでないのに、望んでなかったのに、セナちゃんのこと好きだったのに、大好きだったのに、お姉ちゃんみたいだなって思ってたのに、なんでコズピーはセナちゃんのことを殺したんだろう。なんで。
信仰の救いっすよ。
This fucking asshole. Before I knew it, a man in Darth Spider helmet had appeared near us, holding a small handgun pointed directly at us. Darth Spider. I remember what that DQN had told me before I killed him in a fit of rage. He said that Darth Spider offered Nanami to him.
お前か。
さあ、何のことっすか？
He shot me. My leg exploded with pain. The bullet had struck right me in the knee. Kozubi's disorder began to hum. And Darth Spider's helmet was shredded like it was made of paper. It wasn't Shogun's face beneath the mask. Instead, it was the face of a young man. The man retaliated, turning Kozubi to a mess of gushing blood and broken bones. And then Kozubi's leg gave out from beneath her.
おっと、殺しはしないっすよ。コードサンプルを取らせてもらわないといけないんで。
Who was this guy? Who in the hell was this bastard? I couldn't stop thinking I met him somehow before, but I couldn't remember. How had he gotten his hands on the gun to begin with? But I did know that this must have been him, the so-called source Senna had mentioned. Was he Shogun's underling, or was he some other enemy? I didn't know the answers to any of these things. I didn't need to, but at the very least I knew he was the source behind everything. I wanted to kill this bastard so badly. Is he gonna awaken his disorder here? But my aching leg was suffering from an incredibly unusual sensation. Before long, I couldn't even standing anymore. Don't tell me this is a route where they all lose. Maybe this is the route they all lose. The next bullet landed on my shoulder. The impact of the shot sent me spiraling on the ground. The bullet dug into my flesh, and the sheer pain and heat made me scream. Next, my arm. I dropped the knife I'd been clenching tightly in my fist. My entire body was emitting distress signals. I couldn't even tell where I was being shot anymore. I was dying. This pain was too much for me to take. The man approached me. He peered at my face, and then removed something odd from the rucksack he was carrying. It was some sort of headgear with more cables than I could count.
殺す。
何？
殺してやる。
Rising up from the ground, Kozopi swayed heavily. She was dragging her leg, almost having to force herself. She raised her blade.
こいつ、化け物かよ。
殺してやる。
Oh no, no, no. I heard the sound of the sword cutting through the air. It interlaced perfectly with the sound of gunfire. The disorder utterly crushed the man's body. His final breath soon dissipated, and the man's all too familiar way of speaking would never be heard again. Well, that was. I thought he was. I thought he was gonna. I thought he would at least put up a fight, man. I mean, especially considering um, the fight he gave, during in the station platform. So this is kind of anticlimactic for him to go. Especially he was the cause of everything that's happening in this route. The main conflict of this route. Moaning, Kozubi coughed up a splatter of blood. Her chest was dyed in red vermilion from the bullets of the red man. Oh no, she was gonna die. And then, as if her strength had been sapped entirely, she collapsed face up onto the flower bed, resting directly behind her. Amira, the black particles began to envelop her D-sword, a hulking mass of sheer mayhem, inspiring awe to those who beheld it. The truly beautiful yet fearful blade began to waver.
たくみさん、コズピーね。もう、ダメみたい。
Bearing the excruciating pain shotting through me, I crawled as best as I could toward where Kozubi lay. Only a few moments ago, my entire body had been blazing with heat, but now I felt so terribly clothed. It was like I was plunged straight into a lake on a cold winter's day. My whole being was shivered with a force I couldn't stop. I couldn't feel my fingers anymore. My vision had gone blurry too. But even so, willing forth all my strength I could muster, I stretched my hand toward the girl lying in a radiant array of brightly colored flowers. My cold fingers met Kozubi's warm, tender fingers. Desperately seeking something to cling to, wishing with all my heart to find it. I draped my fingertips on top of hers and closed them. It even has its own OST track? Oh my god. I found myself lying in the flower bed just like Kozubi. The stench of blood was masked perfectly by the rich scent of flowers. I felt rigid, but found warmth through the soil on my back, as well as Kozubi's fingers. The sky was very high above us, stretching as far as the eye could see. And for some reason,
ねえねえ、空がとっても綺麗だよ。まるでブチブチさんをたくさん散りばめたみたいで。
She was right. The sky we saw shifted hues endlessly, and just like she said, it was like there was an array of colorful beads overtaking the sky. From my pocket, I retrieved the cell phone strap that Kozupi had given me some time ago. I had only just remembered that I even had it. I took the cell phone strap in my palm and then clasped her hand once more, embracing the strap in the middle. I wasn't strong enough to maintain a solid grip anymore, but it didn't matter.
コズピーもあんな風に空に浮かぶブツブツさんになりたいな。
You can. Throw away your piece of shit body. Throw away this piece of shit world. You can be a star if you truly wish to be. If you do that, then you'll never have to worry about pain or sorrow ever again. If you do that, then you'll live in peace and tranquility forever.
たくみさんも一緒に来てくれる？
Fucking ending, man. This is an ending that goes hard, man. Of course I will. I'll always be with you. You were the only person who didn't betray me. You were the only person trying as hard as you could for my sake, even until the very end. So I'll never betray you. I'll stay with you, even until the very
あ
end.
りがとう。あのね、コズピー、たくみさんのこと好きになってもいいかな？
This fucking ending, man! I just can't take it! I don't mind. My consciousness was fading, but I answered all the same. I realized that the hand I've been clasping was slowly beginning to lose its warmth. I realized that the strength was slowly fading from the fingers clasping my hand. But I didn't care. I wasn't going to let go of her hand until the very end. I tried my damnedest to hold back the tears I knew would come. The sky I saw turned a pure white. All the clearly clackities were disappearing. Oh man. I figured something had happened, but I didn't really care anymore. Relief washed over me. Relief that Kozue wouldn't have to see the clearly clackities die out. I gently closed my eyes. In that very moment, the time came to a stop. The entire world came to a stop. And so, with that, the sky, with colors as rich as those beads, Kozue and I shone as stars, floating in perpetually. That was, yeah, okay. I can see why people rated it lower. It's, I mean, I actually like this route more than ISS. Don't get me wrong. Like, ISS route also had something going on for it, but this was, I don't know. I got hit more on by this route, but yeah, it has a lot of routes. I can see why it's rated lower because it's literally a bad end. It's a bad end. So, I can imagine people will be like, but they both died. Meanwhile, in IS's route, they both lived. I don't know, but I felt more things going on here. But IS's route is also good, but this is like more like maybe maybe over relied on shock value. Maybe I was like, this is this is just fresh out. I'm just fresh out of this route, and the shock value is still there for me. I mean, could you just simply explain why Rimi tried to kill Taku way earlier than she should? Because there are a couple of dudes with rucksacks already outside of the school. I mean, one of the major differences from this route from the usual routes is that the Nozomi faction, I'm just gonna call it Nozomi faction because I'm too lazy to even say the Church of Cosmic or whatever shit. they went up straight. They went for a much more desperate move to get Takumi to like. They straight up went on straight to get Takumi to be a bit more. They tried to force his hand to manifest his Z sword. I mean, they even went as far as like they just threw away Nanami and had her raped. I mean, uh, I don't know. That might even be a delusion. It might not even be. It might not be even be, or it might be. Like for now, I'll consider it. No, because think about it. If she got raped, I mean, why the fuck would Misumi-kun would suddenly say like, I don't know. Well, Misumi-kun is much is in a fit of emotion that his girlfriend was killed, but at the same time, you know, he was acting. I don't know. There's I don't know. That's so weird. So maybe that's one. I don't know that ambiguity was kind of like you don't know if that actually happened in anime or maybe it did. Because the thing that's kind of fucking around is the fact that everyone was they had a couple of porters doing the delusionary attack. Come to think of it, what happened to the other porters? There were a number of other porters aside from Suwa around the school. So that's still kind of messed up, right? I don't know that this yeah, there's still a lot of unleft stuff and they kept it to like, "Oh, just go figure it out yourself." It feels like a terrible okay, I don't understand now why IS's route is a little bit more, rated higher. IS's route is, I think, much more, consistently written, and here there's you had some hand waving. You had some hand waving going on. But don't get me wrong, like, the emotional highs and lows were higher and lower here in, Kozubi's route. So if we're talking about like having something being consistent, I'm trying to think about like inconsistencies about like IS's route. I mean, I don't know. Oh no, I was thinking about the Gladio stuff, but you can simply explain it as in Ayasa's route, it's because she sees things in her own world. Like, right, remember how her own world was portrayed differently than Takumi, and she tried to explain the 6 point something billion blah 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 not excuse as like, even if we look at the sky both at the same time and we both have a word called blue for the color that you see in the sky. If someone were to look at your own sky, your blue might be considered red vermilion to someone else. And that is exactly the exercise of what happened to Ayase. So I maybe the Gladio stuff was also in the same vein, in same manner. I mean, her world had I think the negative particles that was happening to every person was visible in her world. So I can see why you have to go through IS's route before you go through Kozu Peace, because when Kozubi just went fucking and her D sword and herself went kind of split it up, like, you know, like it's as if her D sword had a mind of its own. In IS's route, you have an explanation coming from it, but if you went through like Kozubi's route on your own, I mean, there was an explanation by Senna that negative particles will start to influence blah 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 blah, and it doesn't feel as strong without going through IS's route. But let's see if Senna's route. Let's see if Senna's route will actually add more to that. I mean, Senna was already like doing a lot of warning that if you keep using your D sword, it will erode you in some way or some form. So that's exactly what happened to Kozue. So that's kind of like, what the fuck? I don't know. But I can see why this is a route that is kind of dependent on Ayasa's route. Because her going berserk like that is gonna be like, if you let's say if you did your first character routes and you decided Kozue was the first route you wanted to do, you wouldn't understand why the fuck she was like, I mean, all the explanation you had is just that Senna was reminding her that if you keep using your D sword, your negative emotions, blah blah blah. But I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, we'll do Senna's route later. I need to do a couple of cleanup and start cooking some lunch and maybe take a shower. And not maybe, I have to take a shower. I mean, I'm going out. Oh yeah, I have to take a shower. I take showers every day, by the way. Okay, I didn't take a shower yesterday, but I'm gonna take a shower today. I don't want to be known as the shower light forever, man. I'm not a shower light, so I'm gonna take a shower. But yeah, so my time schedule is kind of fucked because originally I expected around this time I was already doing Senna's route, finishing Senna's route, and I was gonna do Remy's after lunch. But it looks like Senna's route will be the route we will do after lunch. And then and then I had to go out for like an hour or so, and then I have to eat dinner. So that'll be like, I'll be probably out for 2 to 3 hours. Then once I come back, we will do Remy's route, and then we will do the true ending. I think I'm gonna go straight to the true ending after Remy's route, because the reason I'm going out is I'm picking up my dinner. So I'm gonna have dinner basically anyway. So I already ate dinner. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'll see you guys on Senna's route after lunch. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy watching, and I'll see you guys on the later